It's Pucks Across Borders on a Wednesday afternoon, and it's brought to you by always First Round Collectibles. Which sports card do you want? You want hockey, you want basketball, football, baseball, maybe even wrestling. Well, you can get whatever your heart desires at firstroundcollectibles.com. And right now, with promo code SportsAddict, you get 10% off. That's right, 10% off whatever sports card you want at firstroundcollectibles.com. That's the number one, STRoundcollectibles.com. First Round Collectibles, sports cards for sports fans.
Yeah. Let's go. We just gotta go hard. I go the hardest. I bring the pain. Not what you used to. It's all part of the game. Yeah, I just gotta go hard. I just gotta go hard. Go hard. Yeah, oh yeah, the beast back. Adrenaline pumping through my veins, can't relax. Original, I am not the same as these cats. I sting them if they never ever.
And welcome, Pucks Across Borders on a Wednesday. So good to have you with us on Sports Addict Live on YouTube and on X. And also, we are back as we were yesterday. We are back with Total Apex Sports, and it's good to be back. At the top of your screen, you read his work about the NFL on Gridiron Heroics. John, how are you on a Wednesday afternoon, my friend?
Can't complain. Definitely a bit of a darker day around here in my area, at least. But we're looking forward to some good hockey tonight for sure.
Yeah, it's gross around here, man. We've been getting snow, and now it's gonna pour rain for the next 3 days. So that's just the kind of winter we've had, man. It's a little depressing. You gotta have your mental health game on a swivel with this weather, man. It's brutal. And at the bottom of your screen, you read his work on Gridiron Heroics, Winners and Whiners. You see him talk about the NFL and the NBA on Total Apex Sports. Andre, how are you doing, man?
Yeah, weather's a little gross around here too. I had to go outside a bit earlier. Shocker, I know. And I'm very excited to not have to watch hockey tonight. So shout out to the Rangers.
Oh man, we could like dedicate this whole half segment to that last night. That was tough, man. I was telling you, I usually pride myself on staying awake through all the games, and I passed out. It was 2-1. I passed out. It was fine. Yeah, my heart goes out to you today. Let's get right into it. Lots to get to based on last night and on the games ahead of us tonight. Let's get right to it. John, starting with you, man. What is your takeaway from last night?
My take. I hope I'm not stealing anyone's thunder here. My takeaway is going to be something I'm kind of impressed by that continued last night. That's the Edmonton Oilers. They won yet another game yesterday. I mean, the opponent wasn't entirely significant. It was Columbus, but I believe this is the 14th in a row now for Edmonton. So they're building up quite a winning streak, and it's rare I see a team in the NHL have this type of winning streak. And Edmonton's making serious moves in the Western Conference. I think they're finally living up to be the team that let's face it, we expected them to be in the start of the season. And not only did they continue the winning streak, they won handily last night. 4-1 final score. I'll dive into that a little later. A little bit of a teaser there. But yeah, I was really impressed that Edmonton won handily yet again. And I know we mostly joke about this, but are they ever going to lose a game? Like, for real? Yeah, that's about it for my takeaway. I have a feeling I know what yours is going to be, Andre.
You actually, it's not going to be my
No?
takeaway. It was going to be my bad beat, actually. I just want to say
Okay.
Sam Gagner, he's been a part of multiple 14-game winning streaks now. I saw because he was on the Blue Jackets when they won 14 in a row, and he's on the Oilers now. So I guess he's the key to long, sustainable winning streaks here in the NHL these days. My takeaway is not about the Rangers, though. My takeaway, actually, well, I guess I can tie it to the Rangers a little bit. Last week, I texted you guys late in the night when I was upset, and I said the Rangers are basically just the Kings without shiny helmets, right? I've decided that the Florida Panthers are the Golden Knights without shiny helmets, and now today I caught wind that the Vancouver Canucks were practicing in shiny blue helmets.
Oh no.
The
You
Pacific
did
Division is growing. There's a
Oh.
reason I didn't tell you what my takeaway was, Mark. The Pacific Division is growing their helmet game slowly. I need to find a new team to compare to Vancouver so that we have another team without shiny helmets on the East Coast. But that's my takeaway. Vancouver is going to bust out the shiny blue chrome dome soon. And Mark's going to hate it, and I think this might break him up with the Canucks, which kind of sucks, but
Well, that's the frustrating part is the Canucks are our top 3 favorite teams to watch in the NHL right now. Like
Yeah.
the Canucks, the Jets, and I don't know. I'd have to think about who's third. But yeah, that's awful. What is it with these helmets? Like, I don't know. Do you guys love these helmets? Am I by myself here? Like, I don't understand the appeal.
I think some things just take time to grow. Like the third jersey for the Devils. I'm dead serious. The third jersey for the Devils that they have took a year to grow on me. Like the first year it came out, I hated it, but now I kind of like it.
Yeah, but I mean, I like you could relate those things if the third jersey for the Devils was like bedazzle or something. Like this is like if they were going around in like sparkly uniforms, but I don't know, man. Like Vegas, I can understand it. This like show town. I don't know. Maybe I'm just by myself here.
John, I'm curious. Are you talking about the jerseys?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think those are pretty redundant. I'm not gonna lie, but I also think it's hilarious that the Devils have a jersey that says Jersey on it.
Devils fans troll it like crazy. There's stickers that say car that people put on the back of their car. You got the hat. Like they go
It's
all out with it.
hilarious.
So funny. That's so funny. So I heard you talking about it. My apologies, boys. My son's crying. I'm a stay-at-home dad today, so just had to take care of first things first. I heard you talking about the Oilers, and
Got a man down. Guess he didn't want to talk about the Oilers.
Yeah.
All right, well, he's waiting.
Go ahead.
Huh? I was gonna say while he's waiting to restart, we can get to our bad beats. We can let him do a double whammy here. What's your bad beat? Because you definitely know what mine is now. So I'll let you go first.
I alluded to it with my takeaway about the Oilers. That came back to bite me yesterday because I really did think that this could be a trap game. Not that the Oilers would lose outright, but I just didn't think they would cover such a large puck line considering how long their winning streak had been going. I thought they might be due to slip against an inferior opponent. So I picked them at -2.5 on the show yesterday. And what do you know? The Oilers win by exactly 3 goals. This team really likes to troll me sometimes when I make these big puck line picks with them. This is not the first time. And the Oilers still win these games. That's the annoying part. So, yeah, I mean, I have a double dose of Oilers today for the takeaway and the bad beat, but I kind of think they go together. So I would say that's the one that frustrated me the most yesterday. My bad beat.
Yeah, John, these big puck lines really seem to bite you in the butt.
Yeah.
It's like the team always wins. It's just never enough. It's just always frustrating. Yeah, well, mine is also a puck line though. So, and you know where it's going. Last night, Knicks and Rangers both played, so I do what I usually do. I had a parlay going. Knicks won. Brunson had 30 points. Randall had 30 points. DiVincenzo hit 3 threes. That's all good. Rangers game, Panarin scores a goal. They go up 2-0. All I need in the third period is the Rangers to hold that 2-goal lead. They can let up a goal if they score another one. Just 20 minutes, keep the score even, and they're fine. They're playing the worst team in the NHL. They're supposed to be cup contenders. And not only do they blow said 2-goal lead, they blow the game. They allow one, they allow another. In OT, Mika Zibanejad and is crying for a penalty, and the Sharks score the game-winning goal. And the New York Rangers, up 2-0 in the third period against the worst team in the NHL, lose the game 3-2 in overtime. So disappointing to lose a point. So disappointing to lose my parlay. So there's so many emotionally, physically, socially, you name it, it's a bad beat for me. What a rough night I had on the West Coast, and I'm so glad the Rangers don't need to go on the West Coast anymore.
I won't
So that's
lie.
my
I went to bed last night. I didn't watch that whole game, but I went to bed with the Rangers up 2-0. So I didn't think much of it when I woke up this morning. Then in our group chat, I saw you and Mar talking about the game. Like, do what I think happened actually happen? Then I go search the final score. I'm like, holy crap! Yeah, uh, that's a rough one, Andre. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it happens though. But we move on. And, well, I think Mark wanted to talk about his boys first. Because first up on the slate is the Winnipeg Jets in Toronto to take on the Maple Leafs. Winnipeg, one of the best teams in the league, but they're plus 120 here. They're underdogs. We'd like to talk about Toronto, how they're a little bit less reliable at home, if you will. I'm not sure if that's a fair charge to give them, but it's kind of where we're at with it. What do you see in this game, John? Get us started.
The money line's a bit weird, and I'm sure Mark would agree with this, considering what we talked about yesterday and how he feels about the Jets in general. Toronto's a very good team, don't get me wrong, but Winnipeg is arguably the best or second best team in the Western Conference, and Toronto's minus 140 over them. I find that a little bit strange. I think offensively, there's a bit of an upside here for both squads. Winnipeg's one of the better goaltending teams in the league. Not that Toronto's really bad in that category, but I think I just trust Winnipeg a lot more in that department. Toronto's top 5, I believe, in the league in goals per game. So definitely a strength of theirs. Their penalty kill is not great, but luckily for them, Winnipeg's power play is not very good. I think that's one of the key things for Toronto, that special teams seems to be an edge for them in this matchup. I'd be slightly worried about the goaltending because I don't fully trust it on Toronto's end, and I do think Winnipeg is much better in that department. But I feel like this money line may be trying to tell us something. I feel like I'm about to get trapped into this, but I'm almost tempted to take the Toronto 60-minute line here. I don't know. There's something about this game that's telling me Toronto's going to pull it out somehow. Maybe I'm giving Mark's team the kiss of death. I don't know. But my gut feeling says Toronto pulls it out in 60 minutes. What about you, man?
Well, you didn't go minus 2.5, so it's no kiss of death yet. But I see where you're coming from. Toronto special teams, mainly on the power play, clearly has an edge. My issue with the Leafs is, one, I don't like taking them at home. Two, their goaltending and defense has struggled lately. They allowed 1 goal on Sunday against the Kraken, but in the 6 games before that, they allowed 3 or more in each one. They allowed exactly 3 in the 1 win. The other 5 games they lost. They allowed 4, 5, or 6 goals in those. And if you're giving up that many goals to the Winnipeg Jets, you can just pack your bags and try again in 2 days. You're not going to beat the Jets giving up 4 goals. You're probably not going to beat the Jets giving up 3 goals. So if they're going to give up 3 or 4 goals, which they've been doing a lot lately, they're not going to win this game. For me, it's really that simple. So Mark's not here. I apologize, Mark. I'm fading your boys tonight. I got to go with the Jets plus 120. especially after a loss where they gave up 4 goals, which they hadn't done since November. So I'd like the plus 120 here. I like the over 6. And he's back.
My apologies, gentlemen. My computer just completely shut down on me, and the power failed at the SiriusXM studios in Toronto yesterday. So I guess it happens to all of us professionals. It happens to all of us. I apologize. Where are we?
We just gave our picks for the Toronto Winnipeg game. You're right in time for your team.
Beautiful,
Right in the nick
beautiful.
of time.
Beautiful. Thanks, you guys, for holding it down. My apologies again. Yeah, I have a hard time looking at this number and fully understanding what's going on here. I think it's very obvious that Winnipeg has been playing much, much better hockey, even despite their 4-1 loss. That was really a 2-1 loss until late in the hockey game against Boston the other night. Now, Toronto plays Winnipeg tonight, and then they go to Winnipeg to the whiteout on Saturday. So I can see this game being split. Like, I can see it being one team wins tonight, one team wins on Saturday. I just have a really hard time looking at this number and saying, yeah, give me Toronto. I believe Martin Jones is in net for the Leafs tonight, but that still does not give me a ton of confidence. The Leafs haven't played since Sunday. I know it's only 2 days off in between games, but quite honestly, give me Winnipeg here tonight on the money line, which sucks to say. But that's just how I feel about it. 7-3 in their last 10 games, Leafs 2-5 in their last 7 games. 4 out of the 5 losses have been by 2 goals on the Maple Leaf side. And I honestly would not be shocked if the Leafs lose this game 4-2, 5-3. I like the over, but yeah, it sucks. I kind of feel like Andre the day after a bad loss where I'm just I'm just like, yeah, give me the opposite team. I like the Maple Leafs to win one of these next 2 games. I just think that was a really tough loss for the Jets on Monday, and consistency wise, I just can't rely on the Leafs with this high of a money line. I will say Matthews 5 goals in his last 5 games, so a little sprinkle on a anytime goal by Austin Matthews is never something that I would disagree with. Moving on to Sunrise, where the Arizona Coyotes play the Florida Panthers. Florida minus 238 on the money line, plus 195 are the Coyotes. Minus 1.5 on the puck line for Florida is minus 105, and plus 1.5 is minus 115. Minus 105 for a puck line, a little bit disrespectful for our University of Arizona Coyotes. The over is 6 at minus 122. The under is plus 102. Andre, we'll go to you, man. What do you see in this game?
It's a little disrespectful, but I think the puck line's the right move here. Florida, better defensively, better on the PK, power play matches, more reliable offense. An offense that, even with their recent struggles, they've scored 4 goals in 3 of their last 4 games. It's really the defense and goaltending that let them down during that 3-game skid. They got back on track against Nashville. They're on home ice yet again, and I think that plays well for them. I know Arizona's won 2 in a row, both at home. But they've struggled on the road, 8-10-3. I, in general, don't really love the way they're playing right now, so I do like the Panthers minus 1.5 here, and I think I would sprinkle on the under.
What about you, John? What do you see here?
I feel pretty much the exact same way. I thought Florida's last game was pretty notable because before their win against Nashville, they were struggling with goaltending, giving up several goals to, quite frankly, surprising teams. Um, I felt like winning 4-1 the way they did the other nights was a sign that Florida is starting to get back on track, and now they get to go home and play this game. I think this is not a good matchup for Arizona either. Their strength tends to be their power play and their grit. I think Florida can neutralize both, and I think Florida is just quite frankly the more complete team. And Arizona's coming east in this one. Yeah, I don't see this going well for them. I think the money line accurate here, so I would go with a puck line bet too. I'm not as confident in this, but I'd lean under on the total if I had to pick a side there. But I think the puck line would be my stronger bet.
Yeah, I mean, you boys know I love me some Coyotes. I love the way that team plays. I love how hard they fight. I just think it's a really tough matchup for them as well tonight. Specifically, the Panthers snapped their 4-game losing streak. They allowed 1 goal the other night after allowing 18 goals in the previous 4 games. So I think that was a really good reset game for them the other night. And I think that they come ready to play tonight. Also, give me the Panthers -1.5. The total, I would lean under as well. It kind of spooks me. The Coyotes can put up some goals. And like I just mentioned, the Panthers, despite the 1 goal allowed the other night, not the best for goaltending and defending. So I kind of staying away from the total, but I like the puck line there as well. Moving on to, if Toronto Winnipeg is not the game of the night, then this is probably the game of the night in Boston. -135 at home against the Carolina Hurricanes, +114. The over is 6 at -110. The under is also -110, +1.5 on the Carolina side, -218. -1.5 on the Bruins side is +180. John, we'll go to you, man. What do you see here?
A very tight battle that's going to be difficult to pick, mainly because I think these teams are nearly even on with stats on offense. Like I think they could cancel each other out in a lot of categories. Um, I expect this to be a very tight game. Both we're talking about two of the better teams in the Eastern Conference. Boston's won 5 straight, so they're definitely the hotter team going into this. That somewhat makes me want to pick Carolina, mainly because I tend to believe some of these teams are due for losing streaks. But Boston did impress me the other night, and I trust their goaltending a little bit more than I trust Carolina, even though that is improving for them. His money line is a bit high, but I don't really want to take the 60-minute line here. I'll say Boston money line, but I would try to pair it with something else because I don't really like putting down -135. But I think that's the way I would lean in this one.
Yeah, it's a really tough game to talk yourself through. Carolina 3-3 in their last 6, but they are 8-3 in the last 11. In those 8 wins, 38 goals. That's the thing that I'm really interested to see tonight. Is the special team battles are basically deadlocked. Carolina, third on the power play, 5th on the penalty kill. Boston, 4th on the power play, 4th on the penalty kill. And Carolina has been scoring a lot of goals lately. So I'm super curious to see how that pans out against the Bruins. Bruins, they've won 5 games of their own. 4 of those 5 games were by the -1.5 puck line. So does that trend continue against Carolina, who's had their share of goaltending difficulties, specifically in the injury department? I'm kind of leaning on an upset here, boys. Which isn't a crazy upset. I mean, Carolina's a good team. But plus 114 value for a team that's been averaging 5 goals a game over their last 8 wins. I don't know. I'm kind of leaning Carolina here. I do think the special teams is going to be a big factor. Both of these teams, as I said, have incredible special teams. So which one can stand out? And I'm kind of leaning Carolina. That goaltending, or sorry, goal scoring scares me off of the Bruins a little bit and has me leaning Carolina. What about you, Andre? What do you see here?
Yeah, the Bruins puck line has been treating me well lately against these good teams. It worked against Winnipeg, worked against Colorado, worked against the Devils. They're at home again, where they're 16-3-3. Elite special teams in every way, elite goaltending and defense in every way, special scoring talent. I understand Carolina's playing much better. I understand Carolina's a very good team, but they're on the road where they haven't been as strong lately. Well, I guess as strong this season. They've been better lately. They've had some ugly losses. They lost 5-2 to the Kings. We've been ragging on them a lot lately. They lost 5-2 to the Wild on Sunday. I think forever when I think about these teams, I'm going to think about the playoff series 2 years ago where the home team won every single game and every single outcome was 5-2. So all that being said, I think the Bruins win this game 5-2. Give me the Bruins puck line. Give me the over.
Interesting. I think you have more confidence in the Bruins than I do to go further with it. I swear, I'm like 51-49 on this game, like slightly leaning Boston.
Yeah, I'm really high on Boston. I think they're the clear-cut Eastern Conference favorites, at least for the regular season. Yeah, I think it's just a stellar team across the board. Again, and they should have home ice through the Eastern Conference playoffs.
Moving on to Colorado. Washington, second half of a tough back-to-back here against the Wild last night. Tried to make that game competitive, but that was all Minnesota last night. Colorado minus 245 at home. Washington plus 200. The over is 6 at minus 120, and the under is plus 100. Plus 105. Plus 1.5 is minus 120, while minus 1.5 for Colorado is plus 100. Andre, we'll start with you, bro. What do you see here?
I can't believe I have to fade Charlie Lindgren, but second half back-to-back, flying Minneapolis to Denver. Colorado's a phenomenal team. Cale Makar is still there. They've scored 7 goals in 2 of their last 3 games, and they're back home. They had just had a 5-game road trip, 3 games through Canada, had to go to Boston, and then wrapped it up in Philly. So some days off since they haven't played since Saturday. They're going to be fresh. Home crowd's going to be jumping, and they're going to dominate here. The Capitals don't have the scoring to keep up with them. I think their legs are going to be too tired to match Colorado's speed, and the schedule's not doing them any favors. Last night was a gettable game, even though I don't think it's one they should have won, and they lost it. This one's not a gettable game. I think they're going to get blown out. So,
yeah, and I mean, the only thing that would maybe talk me into Washington tonight, and even not taking Colorado on the puck line is the fact that Colorado 7-3 in the last 10 games. In those 10 games, though, they've only allowed less than 4 goals 3 times. 3 goals, 0 goals, and 3 goals. The goaltending for Colorado has not been great. But with Washington, I don't see that really mattering. Maybe TJ Oshie goes off for another hat trick or something, but I don't think that really matters against the Capitals. They have a 2-game losing streak of their own, 2-2 in the last 4. I just see too much firepower here for Colorado, and a team like Washington prides themselves on winning those close games, tight games, difficult defensive games, and I just don't see that being the case in Denver tonight. John, what about you, man? What do you see here?
Honestly, I don't have much to add here. Given Washington's on a back-to-back, yesterday I didn't like them against Minnesota, and it's rare I would back Minnesota on a puck line. And sure enough, they hit. I think this is a much worse matchup for Washington. They really haven't shown me any reason to think they're going to win this game for me. So I'll keep it short. I like the Colorado puck line tonight.
Yeah, hard to disagree. Moving to West Coast Canada. Now, are you telling me that they're wearing these shiny helmets tonight? Is that what you're saying?
You're gonna have to tune in and find out. JT Miller said he didn't know when they were breaking it in. He just wears what he's told to wear.
Yeah, that sounds like me with my wife pretty much every day. So I can sympathize. Vancouver Canucks, if they have the shiny helmets, I feel like these odds should be shorter, but minus 230 at home. St. Louis, impressive win in Calgary last night. Come from behind win against Andre's Flames. Andre just couldn't buy a win last night. Plus 190 on the road. Minus 1.5 for Vancouver is plus 110, while plus 1.5 for the Blues is minus 130. The over is 6 and the at minus 125, and the under is plus 105. John, we'll start with you, man. What do you see here?
This is a little tough to gauge considering St. Louis is coming off a nice win last night, and I didn't show them a lot of confidence yesterday. With that said, that still doesn't have me convinced they're going to do anything in this game. I just think the offensive matchup here is too detrimental to St. Louis. Vancouver just has a huge advantage in that department here. I mean, we're talking about the team that leads the league in goals per game, has a very solid power play at 23.5. I mean, Vancouver's power play success is nearly double St. Louis. And St. Louis is in like the bottom 7 in the league in goals per game. I just don't see how St. Louis keeps up here. I know they put up 4 last night, but now they're going up on a back-to-back against the best offensive team in the league. I don't like that at all for them. Give me Vancouver puck line at even money.
What about you, Andre? What do you see here?
Yeah, the thing with these teams that make me look bad one night and then play the next night is that they just give me a golden opportunity to fade them. Second half of a back-to-back for the Blues. British Columbia against one of the best teams in the league. The Blues' defense and goaltending is solid, not great, against the best offense in the league. The Blues have scoring issues. I don't care what they did last night against Calgary. Vancouver's a different beast. This is in Vancouver. The Blues are a much worse team on the road this season. I pretty much exclusively pick them at home. I think I fade them every time they're on the road, and tonight's not going to be any different. Canucks pick up a 4th straight win, 3rd straight by multiple goals at home tonight. Minus 1.5.
Yeah, I don't see how you go the other way on this one. I know that the Blues beat Vancouver, if memory serves me correct, in St. Louis last month. But yeah, second half of back to back. Calgary, I mean, Calgary is a competitive team and they work hard, but they got their problems on the back end. And I like the Canucks just don't have that problem. Ever since they stole Zadorov from the Flames, the defense for the defense for Vancouver has been much better. And the other thing too with the Canucks is they're winning games every way. Like they're winning games 6-4, they're winning games 2-0, they're winning games 4-3. Like it doesn't matter what kind of game you give them, the Canucks are going to win it. And I like the Canucks as well. -1.5 at +110. Moving on to Seattle, where the Kraken are -298 favorites now. The odds have changed just in the last half hour. +240 are the Blackhawks. -1.5 on the puck line is -112, while +1.5 for the Blackhawks is -108. The over is 5.5 at -118, and the under is -102. Andre, we'll start with you, bro. At this point I forget who went first last time, so who cares? Andre, what do you see here in this game?
Seattle's in a free fall again. The Blackhawks are who they are. Neither offense is doing much. I like the under more than anything in this game for that reason. I know it's under 5.5, which is low, but -102 is good odds. And then you look at the Kraken, 4-game losing streak. They have 5 total goals during that. They've been shut out once. Their highest scoring game was 2 goals. And then the Blackhawks, I mean, you look at their last 4, they've been shut out twice. They only scored 2 goals against the Sharks. They had that 4-goal game against the Islanders. They have 6 in their last 4, but that's still not good. The 3 games before that 4-game stretch, they had 1 goal in all 3 losses. These are just 2 teams not finding the back of the net. Pete Mrazek just got a contract extension, I believe, and is having a strong season even with the defense in front of him. Seattle, for what it's worth, they are 11th in goals allowed per game, or goals allowed per game this season, 2.89. Solid special teams. Scoring has been the bane of their existence this season. Give me the under 5.5. I really don't like picking a side in this one because I just think it's going to be too tight. I might go Blackhawks +1.5 because it's -108. That's really good odds for a +1.5 bet in hockey, but I'm not feeling too good about that. So.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think the under is definitely the play here. But I mean, like, call this reaching. Maybe I'm stretching this a bit. Chicago 2-2 in their last 4. Seattle 4-game losing streak. Arguably, is Chicago playing better hockey right now? I saw the Kraken against the Leafs on Sunday, and the Leafs could have won that game 5-2. There were moments where Kraken had some life, but this Chicago team, win, lose, which it's usually the latter. I mean, they fight hard, and you take shifts off against them. I mean, they're going to make you pay, which is a weird thing to say about the team that is battling it out with the Sharks for the worst team in the league. I really like Blackhawks +1.5 here. If the Kraken win this game, they haven't really proven to me that they can win this game by 2 goals. I know it's just Chicago, but their goaltending's been good. You mentioned Mrazek. I mean, like, they lost to the Canucks 2-0 the other night. The Canucks scored 2 goals, and then the Blackhawks shut it down. I mean, I can see this game. You can even talk me into the money line, quite honest with you. And depending how my 7 o'clock bets do, I just might try to bounce back and chase a loss with a with a Blackhawks money line. So I like the under. I like Chicago plus 1.5 at minus 108. And hey, by game time, I might even talk myself into the money line. John, what do you see here?
Well, you guys know how much I love picking Blackhawks puck lines. So I'm trying not to torture myself anymore when it comes to Chicago. So I'm gonna avoid that. I'm gonna avoid picking a side. Chicago just doesn't want to cooperate with me. Seattle's on a losing streak, so they're no fun to pick either. Let's go with the total. I agree with you guys on the under. I think that's the best play here, as I give it the kiss of death. Um, I mean, these are two bottom six teams in the league in goals per game. Even Chicago's coming off a game where they didn't even score a goal, and I think Seattle has the goaltending to keep it low again on their end. And Seattle just can't seem to get a lot right now. While I think they can win this game, I don't expect them to go on a frenzy here tonight. So I know 5.5 is a bit low for a total, but given the two teams playing tonight, I'd take a shot at it. Certainly better than picking a side for me in this game.
Yeah, I don't want to see any more 2.5 from you.
Yeah, while you were off the air, Andre's like, yeah, as long as you don't pick 2.5, you're fine.
Yeah, that's enough out of you, John. It's 2.5.
Well,
Oh,
Chicago's gonna make me go crazy mentally. Like, damn.
Well, I mean, listen, the next team we're talking about, you picked them 2.5 the other night too, and we try to warn you.
The second team I
game,
look forward to talking about.
Well, I mean, dude, like talk about taking a side and making yourself look ridiculous. Like, it wasn't all of us on Buffalo last night. What a train wreck that was!
Yeah.
Right.
Just awful. And like, listen,
I don't think that game is ever close.
the analysis can be right, but sometimes we're wrong. That's what happens, and it's been one of those weeks for us. But I don't know. Buffalo in Los Angeles. Buffalo played in Anaheim, which is basically Los Angeles, last night. Minus 192 on the money line are the Kings. Plus 160 are the Buffalo Sabres. Over is 6.5, minus 105. And the under is minus 115. Plus 1.5 is minus 155 for Buffalo. Minus 1.5 is plus 130 for the Kings. John, we'll start with you on this one, man. What do you see in this game? Do you trust either of these teams? I don't care that it's Buffalo. The Kings minus 192? No way.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth, man. I mean, I thought the last game was tough to pick between Seattle and Chicago. This one may top the boys. Like, seriously. These talk about two teams you don't want to pick. LA coming off on, I would nominate that as my worst pick ever on this show with LA 2.5. But honestly, the Buffalo puck line pick, I don't know if all three of us made that, but I certainly did yesterday against Anaheim. That wasn't much better. They lost outright. The point I'm trying to make is neither team is exactly playing well going into this. I think we had a long conversation the other day about just how poorly the Kings have played in the last, let's just say 12 or 15 games. Man, I don't know. This is a tough spot because like the Kings have not earned my trust for a puck line bet. I don't really like the idea of picking that. Buffalo's coming off a back-to-back when they quite frankly played terribly last night against Anaheim. So I don't love that either. Maybe a total bet. Oh, we got a guest here. Then maybe help us out to pick this game because certainly I could use the help.
He's been dying to come on. You've probably heard him throughout my whole last little spiel. He's been throwing the mini sticks that I got him. He's ready to go. Sorry, John. Finish your thought. My bad.
Honestly, man, I I'm having a hard time picking anything in this game. I can't come up with a good side pick at all. I'm trying to look at totals here. I mean, statistically, you would think an under would be a decent bet considering how good the Kings usually are in goaltending. But like, I swear, after Monday, I can't even rely on the under considering the Kings gave up 4 and they've been a little shaky lately. I gotta be honest, boys. I don't have a bet in this one. I think this is my stay away of the night.
Yeah, and I don't blame you for that at all. What do you see here, Andre?
God, do I have to?
I couldn't do it.
If we're calling the Kings the Rangers just with shiny helmets, then we have to follow the pattern, right? The Rangers played yesterday against a team on the second half of a back-to-back that they were clearly better than and lost. The Kings are playing a team that they're clearly better than in the second half of a back-to-back, and they're going to lose. Both of those games take place in California. I'm sticking with it. That's all I got. I don't trust either of these teams. The Sabres, you never know what you're going to get with them. We've been saying that all season. The Kings have been absolutely miserable lately. They also blew a goal, not a multi-goal. They also blew a lead against the Sharks and lost in overtime. So they're not playing well at all. There's not even goalie props available, so I don't even know where to go there. I will say I feel like they're out shooting a lot of these teams.
Yeah.
Lately, so I would look at them. Like, I would look at multiple shot on goal props for the Kings. That's why I was looking for the goalie goals. I was going to go for a saves prop on the Buffalo goalie, just based on, I assume they're going to face a lot of shots, probably save more shots, assuming they don't have a miserable day. So that's kind of where my head was at, but those aren't up yet. So Sabres money line. So why not?
Yeah, I mean, listen, man, this is what we've talked about. Like, let's just go based, like the Kings. I mean, my son just took away my notes and literally ripped today's page out of the notes. So, but I don't need my notes to know that the Kings 2-11 in the last 13 games. They're not playing well. Let's stop it with this. Like minus 192 based on what? Like 13 games is a lot of games in the NHL. Like that's not nothing. That's not right. So to me, like minus 192, I think it's Buffalo or nothing here. Yes, Buffalo had the game last night, the ugly game last night in Anaheim, but the travel's not too crazy. The Kings having heartbreak loss after heartbreak loss. You can convince me. I know it's a lot of juice. Maybe I can pair Buffalo plus 1.5 with something at minus 155. But I like Buffalo money line too, man. I just don't. And the Kings just aren't scoring goals right now. And Buffalo, like they're 6-5 in their last 11 games. Like they're mediocre, but they're playing much better hockey than the Kings are. That's just the reality of it. That's just the way it is. And the Kings, as an owner of Cam Talbot in fantasy hockey, I can tell you how frustrating this goaltending situation is. But he's not somebody that you just want to cut off your team. You want to trade a player like that. But the disparity between him and the goaltender he was at the beginning of the year is just night and day. It's that simple. So give me Buffalo on the money line as well. Moving on to our best bets. Brought to you by First Round Collectibles. Promo code SportsAddict. Get 10% off whatever sports card your heart desires. Andre, we'll start with you, man. What's your best bet on tonight's slate of games?
I'm gonna stick with what I've gone with a lot recently. Uh, Bruins minus 1.5, plus 180. Very juicy odds. I know the Canes are a good team, but they did it to the Jets, which was unthinkable. They did it to the Canes. They did it to the Devils recently. They're just at home winning these games with some room to spare. They're arguably their worst played game of the stretch is a 9-4 win against the Canadians. So Hurricanes are good. Bruins are much better. They're gonna smack them at home.
Oh, spicy off the bat. Love it. John, what do you see here, man?
What's interesting about this slate is like half of the games I really love one side strongly, and the other half I can barely pick it to save my life. But luckily Andre didn't take one of the games I felt strongly about. I debated between 2 or 3 different picks here that I really like, but I think the one I'm gonna go with here is Colorado puck line. I really like them tonight against Washington. I think this is more of a fade Washington than a love Colorado type of thing here. Washington's playing a back-to-back. They're really not playing good hockey at all right now. I don't think they have the firepower to keep up with Colorado, especially on a road trip on a back-to-back. I think this is a lot to ask. And like I said, if I felt good enough to pick Minnesota puck line yesterday, what does that say about picking Colorado tonight when I think they're much better? So I think that's my logic here. I like the Colorado puck line tonight a lot in this one. Like I said before, man, while Mark was gone, yeah, I'm amazed that you really have a lot of Boston confidence. I don't have the stones to go that far with them tonight, but I hope it hits.
This just I don't know. To me, that's just a really good team. I will say that when you picked Colorado puck line, I definitely went, damn, I really should have picked that one. I didn't really like that one. I was like, why did I get so risky? But you know what? It's been working for me, so it's locked in.
Well, boys, oh yeah, buddy. Oh yeah, we're going. Keeping this short and sweet. Dad of the year over here. Oh yeah. He's worried about the Leafs tonight. Give me Austin Matthews anytime goal scorer. I'm done with puck lines. I'm done with totals. I'm done with money lines. Give me Austin Matthews minus 115 anytime goal.
Well, Mark's swooping in with the lowest odds of the day on an anytime goal scorer bet. Who would have thought? Bruins minus 1.5 is plus 180. Colorado minus 1.5 is plus 100. Austin Matthews anytime goal is minus 115. Altogether, it's plus 946.
We're due, boys. We're due.
Absolutely.
We've had a rough late week. Let's get back on track with a parlay tonight.
Today's the day.
It's time. Yeah, it's time. Absolutely. Well, listen, we're going to run. Thank you guys so much for joining us on X, on YouTube, on all of that. I hope my wife doesn't see this. She's going to, you still went on? Was crying, blah, blah, blah. That's okay. My wife sounds a lot cooler than that. But thank you guys so much for joining us. Follow us on Twitter for the best bets of the night, and we will see you tomorrow.
Go